if you are an incoming freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior, this video is for you. This is everything I wish I would have known. So get your snacks, get your popcorn, get your dinner, get comfortable, because it's gonna be a long one, but you're gonna want to tune in and listen, because I promise you, you're gonna get some gems today. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. For those that don't know me, my name is India, and today I'm going to be starting a college series, a 5-part series that I like to call Dear Class of 2026 and Beyond. So in this series, it is going to be, again, a 5-part series that is literally a one-stop shop or a 5-stop shop that has everything you need to know about the college process. I'm talking everything. So video 1, of course, is this one, which is going to be an overview of everything you need to know so that you can get an overview and so that you can already know what you're going to encounter as the days progress. Video 2 is going to be about how I got in. So I'll be talking about the schools I applied to, my stats, the scholarships I've received, and everything kind of tailored towards me personally, like my resume, my grades, GPA, all that stuff. Video 2 is going to be
definitely was supposed to say 3.
Scholarships. So the scholarship hustle, types of scholarships, where to find them, which ones you should apply to, all that stuff. Video 3 is going to be about choosing the right college, because I promise you, everybody wants to make sure they make the right decision. And I'm going to give you guys a view into how I chose my college, the Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, and how you guys should go through your process and, you know, begin eliminating colleges and ultimately choosing the right one for yourself. And video 6.
Pause. Definitely skip the number 5, but y'all know what I meant. Episode 5
is going to be specifically for my FAMU 26 and beyond individuals. I'm going to give you guys the scoop on everything you need to know about FAMU, because I promise you there is so much. So without further ado, I'm going to get straight into this video because I just know it is going to be long. I will try to do some timestamps so you guys can, you know, move through and see what everything's going to be about. But let's just hope it's not too long. So first things first, where do you start? So if you are coming into high school, this is for you. So this is not just for seniors. This is for everybody. I'm giving tips for everybody. If you are a freshman in high school, an incoming freshman, you need to be focusing on your GPA. I promise you, you might not think it is important, but it is very important, because you're starting fresh. You don't want to start low. You want to start high so that you have room to, you know, things happen. Please focus on your GPA, focus on your grades, and then also join as many clubs and organizations as you can. And when you do, seek leadership positions. I'm gonna say that 10 million times in this video. Sophomores, if you are an incoming sophomore, you need to be focused on the same exact thing as the freshmen. So focus on your GPA, focus on your grades, focus on joining clubs, seeking leadership positions, and then also on top of that, you need to be starting your SAT prep and actually taking the test if you can and if you are prepared. Me personally, I took my first SAT test the first semester of my sophomore year because I was going to be a dual enrollment student my junior year and I needed an SAT score to get accepted into the university. But you should be taking at least SAT prep your sophomore year, if not already starting to take the test. Next, juniors, the most important year in high school for your grades. You need to ensure that your GPA and your grades are as high as they can be. Why? Because when you apply to colleges, especially if you are applying early action and early decision, which I personally recommend, you are going to be using the GPA and the grades that you ended your junior year off with to apply to these colleges. So you want to make sure your GPA is as high as possible. Junior year, my GPA was the highest it's ever been, which was a 4.1. Now, with that, your junior year is also the year that you should be taking the SAT and the ACT as many times as you can until you get the score that you want. So junior year, you should be focusing on taking the SAT and the ACT as many times as you can and getting your score as high as possible. Seniors, Lord, let me just say this first. Senior year, you do not want to be taking the SAT and the ACT. Why? Because you should be focused on you should be focused on applying to colleges and applying to scholarships. You don't want to have to worry about taking the SAT and the ACT your senior year because you're already going to be dealing with senioritis, you're going to be dealing with applying to colleges, and you're going to be dealing with applying to scholarships. So you don't want to have to deal with taking the SAT and the ACT. So all you want to focus on your senior year is college applications and scholarships. Dual enrollment in AP, I highly advise you do them. Me personally, I'm gonna tell you do dual enrollment over AP because AP sucks and AP is a scam, and I'm gonna tell you why it's a scam. The school wants your $90, so they are going to advocate for you to take AP courses, and that is also why with AP you can get a higher grade and you can get over a 100%. So they're gonna give you, that incentive so that you can take AP classes, but really dual enrollment is where it's at. Why? Because dual enrollment is free. It is literally a college class. It is not nearly as stressful as an AP course, and you are guaranteed credit as long as you get a C or above. So I highly recommend you do dual enrollment over AP, but if you want that 4.1 or over a 4.0 GPA, you are going to have to take AP classes. Me personally, I took 3 AP classes. I took 1 freshman year, 2 sophomore year, and that's really what boosted my GPA throughout my entire high school career. So I would personally advise maybe taking 1, 2, or maybe 3 AP classes during your lower classmen years before you can officially do dual enrollment. Because I advise you to do dual enrollment when you have a car, so you don't have to rely on anybody. But like lower classmen, so freshman, sophomore year, I suggest you take AP classes. And then once you get into junior, senior year, it should be anything and everything should be dual enrollment because it is way easier and you're guaranteed credit. It's just a lot less stressful. Now, if you're trying to be valedictorian, salutatorian, that's different. You're gonna have to stick with the APs. But me personally, I'm gonna tell you to do dual enrollment. So we already like 7 minutes in, I'm sorry. That is it for everyone that is not a senior.
Yeah, so I lied.
Junior,
sorry.
I would advise you to still listen into the rest of the video because you're next. But the rest of the video is really for seniors, upcoming seniors. So first things first that you want to ask yourself is, what kind of education do you want? So that could be a technical or a trade school. That could be 2-year, 4-year, in-state, out-of-state, private, public, HBCU, PWI. Use that to begin narrowing down which schools you are interested in applying to. Next, you want to be sure to search for schools with your intended major. If you don't know what you want to major in, just intended interest. So have, 3 possible majors or 3 possible careers and find a school that has at least like 2 of them. So an example of this for me personally, I'm gonna mention like Howard, FAMU, Tuskegee, Spelman, NCAT. I'm gonna mention those a lot because those are the schools that I got into and applied to. So an example of this, of choosing a school for your intended major, would be if someone wanted to major in theater arts or some type of art or fashion or something. You're gonna wanna go for Howard, maybe Clark Atlanta because they have a really good fashion program. You're gonna wanna stay away from the FAMUs and the Tuskegees and the North Carolina A&Ts because those are more agricultural schools, whereas Howard has a really strong performing arts program, and so you really wanna choose a school that has your major. Vice versa, if you wanted to major in animal sciences, if you wanted to be a veterinarian or something like that, you're not really gonna wanna go to a Howard University because they don't have animal sciences. You could major in biology, but that's different. But like, you want to choose a school that has your major. So like Tuskegee, FAMU, NCAT, they have programs for, someone that wants to be a veterinarian. So you just want to make sure you choose the right school. And me personally, I decided to apply to Spelman. I should not have because I am a business major and Spelman does not have business as a major. But at that time, I was thinking about being a lawyer, which is besides the point. But you just really want to choose schools that have your major and that have your backup. So make sure they have your top 2 majors and choose that as the schools to apply to. Next, you want to research the schools that interest you, whether through vlogs on YouTube to see the social life, using their website, or if you know any alumni, just asking around about their experiences, if they like the school, stuff like that. Now, here's a key tip. Key tip number 1, always have a backup school. Whether it is a backup school because it is close to home, or if it is a backup school because it is not that expensive, always have a backup school just to be safe. For me, my backup school was Georgia State University because it is in Georgia and it is cheap. But of course, that really wasn't an option because I wanted to go to a HBCU. So yeah, always have a backup school. And the second tip is to test, and get your SAT score, ACT score as high as possible, because the higher it is, the better chances you have of receiving more money and more opportunities. It's sad to say, but a lot of schools with these scholarships, they are looking for test scores. GPA wise, get your GPA as high as possible. It's really going to take APs if you're trying to get over the 4.0 region, but you absolutely do not have to take AP classes. You absolutely do not have to take dual enrollment classes to still have a good GPA. So just try and get your GPA as high as you can with what you are working with. Next, build your resume. This is a big aspect to the entire college application process. If you do not have a resume, you need to make a resume. Go on Google and look up templates. You need a resume if you want to apply. You don't need it to apply to colleges. Some colleges give you the option to upload it. If they do, then you best believe you should be uploading your resume. But come time for scholarships, you are going to need some sort of resume so that people can see what you've done. Within your resume, you want to make sure, if you've done work-based learning. I also highly advise you to do work-based learning. I should have put this in the section that had the freshmen, so I might insert it in there. Do work-based learning. Why? Because you get real life experiences, so let go of those electives. Do work-based learning because you actually get real life experiences and opportunities that you can put on your resume. If you did AP or dual, you can put that on your resume if you want. I personally just put that I did dual enrollment. If you have a job or a business, put that on your resume. If you've done any community service, put that on your resume. If you've been in any clubs or organizations, put that on your resume. And when you choose clubs and organizations, be versatile. So for me personally, I was involved in stuff that was academic, I was involved in stuff that was athletics, and I was involved in stuff that was fine arts. So the more versatile you are within what you've done and accomplished, the better. Now, this is where it is for rising seniors. So I'm gonna just keep it the same. So yeah, if you are not a rising senior, you can still listen in on the rest of this video, but this is mainly going to be going over the application process when you are applying to colleges. So you might want to save this for when you get there, but by all means, keep watching because knowledge is power and you want to know this. Now, for applications, applying to college is expensive as all day. So please, first things first, ask your counselor if you qualify for a fee waiver, because if you do, then you can apply to as many colleges as you want for free. And in that case, you should be applying to a whole bunch of colleges unless you just know where you want to go. If you do not qualify for fee waivers, which me personally, I did not qualify, these applications are going to range from about $25 to about $50, $60 for each school. It just depends on the school and how bougie they're trying to be. So yeah, college applications are not cheap. So if you do have to pay to apply to your colleges, and if you do not qualify for a fee waiver, you need to make sure you are choosing the colleges you apply to wisely. You have early decision, you have early action, and you have regular decision. Me personally, I am going to tell you straight up, apply early action if you have the grades and the GPA for it. So if you are secure and if you have the ideal GPA and the ideal test scores, that you want, there is no reason why you should not be applying early action or early decision. Now, the difference between the two, early action is not binding, which means you can apply to as many colleges as you want within that time span, and it's typically from like July to about November. That's early action, early decision. Early decision is binding, which means if you do early decision, if you get accepted into that school, you are going to that school. So typically that's for people that are, committing sports-wise, or someone that just knows they're going to that school. I would not advise you do that if you are not sure. You need to apply early action or regular decision if you want to be able to apply to a wide variety of schools. So yes, apply the early action, early decision time frame, which is July to about November. Why? Because if you want scholarships and if you want to be able to apply to as many scholarships as you can, you're going to need to be within the early action, early decision timeline to do so. Next, Common App. So there are 3 different platforms that you could potentially apply to colleges on. That is Common App, Black Common App, and a personal application from the school's website. So Common App is what most people use. It is an application that basically you fill out something once and it'll send it to all the schools that you want to apply to. Black Common App, I actually did not know that this even existed. It's the same thing as Common App, but for HBCUs. I wish I would have used it. So I'm telling you guys, if you are applying to HBCUs, use Black Common App. Then finally, you have personalized applications from a school's website. So if you search the school you're trying to apply to and they're not on Common App, they more than likely have their own application process on their website. For me, that's what I had to do for FAMU and Tuskegee. So you'll either use Common App, Black Common App, or a personalized website. Common App opens up August 1st of every year, and personalized applications can open whenever they want. And for FAMU, you can apply to FAMU starting like July. So just look on that school's website to see like if they have if their application is on their website, then the open date should be on the website as well. So just look to that school to see when they open up. Next, essays and recommendations. 2 very important aspects to the college application process. As far as essays, there are 5 prompts on Common App. You choose one and you write a 500-word essay. It might seem like a lot, but let me just tell you right now, you're gonna be writing a lot of essays, whether it's for college applications, for scholarships, or just for school in general. You are going to be writing hella essays your senior year. So just get prepared. Now, big tip number 1 and takeaway number 1 for essays. Write about something that highlights who you are as a person, what you've accomplished, and the barriers you've broken or overcome. When I say this, I mean, when you are applying to colleges and even scholarships, there are hundreds of thousands of students that have either the same GPA as you or something better. And you need to find something that will differentiate you from that person. Through your essays and through your recommendations and through your resume, that is how you stand out of the crowd. A lot of these schools are not looking at GPAs and test scores to admit you in. They are looking at your essays, your recommendations, and your resume to see who you are as a person. So be sure to ask yourself, what makes your essay stand out from the pools of others who have the same stats as you? Now, if you want more information about my essays, what I wrote, my recommendations, my resume, all that stuff, that will be in my How I Got In video, which I will link up here once I create it. So tune into that if you want to find out more information on how to make, the best essays and recommendations so that you can get into these schools without a doubt. Now, recommendations. I'm about to spill a whole lot of gems, so please pay attention and please write some of this down because you need to know it. Recommendations. First things first, please use a notable recommendation. I've heard a lot of people who have asked friends of the same age to write a recommendation, or that try to use family. Family isn't a bad thing, but I would try to stay away from it. Unless, your mom is your teacher or, if it's something like that. But I would just overall try to stay away from using recommendations that are family members. or that are, you know, especially friends the same age. You can have a friend that was like maybe a mentor that's older than you or something like that. But if I'm 18 and you're 18, you're not writing my recommendation. That's not gonna happen. So please use notable recommendations. For me, I use my principal as my first recommendation. My second was one of my college professors, and my third was my AP/Reg Ed/ club sponsor. He wrote my last one. So yes, please use notable recommendations. Next, this is very important. Please, 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 please get your recommendations written before the end of August. Do not wait to ask your teacher to write your recommendation. Please have your recommendation written before August. Yes, August is when we start school, or for me, is when we start school. So whenever you start school, that's August, September, whenever it is. Get it done before the first month of school is over, please. Personally, I would tell you to email whoever you plan to get a recommendation from during the end of summer. Yes. So for us, and for me personally, I emailed all of my recommenders at the end of summer / before school started, so like before the first week of school, because teachers are in. So I emailed, or like the first week of school. So give yourself, between like 2 weeks before school starts to the first week of school for you, you need to be emailing your recommenders and asking for a recommendation. So someone, may ask, how do I send the email? What do I say in the email? In the email, you need to make sure you ask for the recommendation, give them a timeline. So say, I'm going to be applying to colleges starting this date, or if you could have this sent back to me by this date, something like that. Give them a timeline. Ask them to send it back to you as a PDF, and I'll get into that later as to why you need a copy of your recommendations. And then also attach your resume to that email so that they have something to look at and have stuff to brag about you for in that recommendation. So again, email your teachers and recommenders before the end of the first month of school, because I promise you, come September, October, November, December, and the rest of the year, they're going to have a long list of recommendations that they need to have, and you want to make sure you have yours up front. I had all of my recommendations finished before the second week of school started. That's where you need to be. Regardless if you're applying during regular decision, it doesn't matter when you apply, you want to make sure you have your recommendations up front, because you do not want to have to wait for a recommendation to be able to submit your application. You want to already have it, because then you're going to be on somebody else's time. You don't want to be on somebody else's time. Next, very important point. Please remember this. Get a copy of your recommendations. Do not let them fool you with that Naviance mess. I'm telling y'all, when you send your emails, be sure to tell your recommenders to send you a PDF copy of your recommendation. Me personally, I had all of my recommenders send me my recommendations via PDF. And then I sent that to my counselor, and my counselor uploaded the PDFs to Naviance. Now, if you have a counselor that's saying they can't do it, first of all, yes, you can, because mine did. But anywho, in that situation, tell your recommenders to submit it through Naviance, but to also send you a PDF copy. Why do you want a PDF copy? Because come time to apply for scholarships, you have to submit recommendations, and you don't want to have to keep asking. Either one, if you don't have a copy of your recommendations, you're going to have to keep asking for new recommenders every time you're applying for a scholarship. You don't want to do that, because that's just going to take way too long. Or you'll have to keep emailing your recommenders to submit your recommendations, and you don't want to do that if you yourself can submit it. So please get a PDF copy of your recommendations. I promise you, you're going to need it. I use mine for college, for applications, and I use it whenever I'm trying to get an internship or a job. So just, get a PDF and reuse the hell out of those recommendations. I'm telling y'all. What was I going to say? Oh, try and tell your recommenders to not make it so college-y, where they're talking about she should be accepted to this university because. So try to have them refrain from that and just make it in general, so you can reuse it for job applications, for internships, so that, it's versatile. Next, test scores and transcripts. So for each school you apply to, you will have to send them your test scores and you will have to send them a transcript. With test scores, you send them through College Board. It costs like $7 for each school, unless you have a fee waiver. With fee waivers, ask your counselor if you qualify for a fee waiver. If not, you're gonna have to pay $7 for each SAT and the ACT. Do not like a one-time thing where every time you... Now, with transcripts, sometimes will be able to send your transcript, or typically it's the future, you're gonna need a PDF of your transcript. So, you know, every a new PDF of your transcript so that it's updated and so that you can use it and just have it on hand, because I promise you, you'll need it. FAFSA and financial aid. This is a big important thing. I might actually make another. FAFSA is a very important something financial. I don't know. I don't know what it represents. Wait, free application, student financial aid. I don't know. But it opens up on October 1st. And when it opens up on October 1st, whether it's 12 a.m., whatever time it opens up, your butt needs to be on that application site, filling it out and submitting it. Why? Because FAFSA is on a first come, first served basis, which means the person that submitted their application 2 minutes before you did is gonna get more money than you did because they submitted it before you did. So please submit your application as soon as possible. Because every minute, every second, and every day counts when it comes to financial assistance from the government. Next, basically when you fill out FAFSA, you're just gonna make an account and then you just follow the instructions. Either you or your parent can fill it out. I filled mine out, but they're gonna ask you a whole bunch of questions, so you wanna make sure you have a parent on hand because they're gonna have to submit their tax information. You're gonna have to answer a whole bunch of questions. It's really a lot, but you really do wanna get that in as soon as possible, because the sooner you submit it, the more money you will get according to your EFC. Your EFC is your expected family contribution. You'll have to find a chart because I'm not going to explain that, but basically your EFC is a number that you'll get after a little time after you submit your FAFSA application, and that basically tells you how much the government expects your family to contribute to your college education. The lower that number is, the more money and the more assistance you will get through financial aid. So if someone had a 1,000 EFC and this person had a 1,000 EFC, but this person submitted their application before they did, they are going to get more money than they do because they submitted their application before they did. So please submit your application on October 1st. Like, please, I'm telling y'all. And the website for FAFSA is FAFSA.ed. It's FAFSA. FAFSA. I always say FAFSA. It's FAFSA. .ed.gov. I'll put it up here. So FAFSA.ed.gov. I always say FAFSA, but it's FAFSA. So, in conclusion, because this video is kind of long, but it's not as long as I thought it was going to be, so I'm kind of happy. So, just an overview of the college application process one last time before I move on to the next thing. Basically, you just select the schools that you want to apply to. You'll choose them, and then you'll select them on like Common App and Black Common App, and it'll put them in a pool together, and then you'll be able to apply to them all at the same time there, pretty much. Or you'll go to the school's website and, you know, just make sure you save that page so that you can keep going back to it. Next, you'll have to submit family info and basically just follow the directions of the application. So it'll have everything you have to fill out, so just follow what it says and submit what you gotta submit as far as that information. Then request and submit recommendations. Typically, NAVIANYS is where your recommendations will be sent. So your counselor will be doing all that stuff. They'll make sure that your recommendations are sent to each school. But for some of the schools that have outside applications, you do have the ability to submit the recommendations yourself. So in that case, if you have the PDF version, you can just upload it yourself and it'll be quick and nice like that. Next is transcripts. I know sometimes you can have your transcripts sent from NAVIANYS or an application that's like NAVIANYS, because I know not all schools use it. So that also is up to your counselor, but still always ask your counselor for a copy of your most recent and updated transcript just in case you need it, because you will need it come time to apply for scholarships, just like your recommendations. Next is resume. Just make sure you have a resume, even if the application doesn't require it. Just make sure you have it. Some applications will allow you to submit a resume, and in that case, you need to submit the resume if it allows you to submit the resume. Just like if there's an optional essay, you need to do the optional essay. If there's anything that's optional on a college application, do it. Please do it. So yeah, resume is optional, but just have it. Have someone look over it, make sure it looks okay, make sure it's professional, and make sure, you know, you really brag about yourself on there. Next is sending test scores. Test scores will always be sent through College Board, so you need to make sure you have a College Board. If you took the SAT, then you have a College Board login info and account. So that's how you send it. Just look up send test scores, and it'll tell you all that stuff. Next, make sure you complete FAFSA in October, on October 1st. Make sure you submit it as soon as possible because you're gonna want as much money as you can get. Now, next, after you've applied to school. So after you've applied to your schools, hopefully for you, you will be done applying to schools before October ends. Because I will say a lot of schools, like the scholarship pool for them ends in October and November. You have to have your application submitted to get a merit scholarship before then. So you just want to, that's not for every school, but for some schools, and for FAMU specifically, your application has to be received before November 1st if you want to be considered for a scholarship. So after you've applied to all of your schools, you're still waiting on a decision, but you finished applying. Your only concern is scholarships. Your only concern is scholarships. Get that money, okay? Please apply, start applying for scholarships. Watch my scholarship video for more information on how to, you know, stay motivated, what to do, where to look for, you know, all that information about scholarships. But you want to start applying to local scholarships, emphasis on local, because local is really where the bag is at. You might think the national scholarships that are for $50,000, $100,000, you might think those are the ones you should focus on, but there are so many students with the same and even better stats and resumes than you applying for that. So yes, apply for those national scholarships, but your main focus should be the local scholarships, because I promise you, those $1,000 to $8,000 scholarships will add up. I promise you. If you get a good 5 of them, they will add up. Now, next, once you've received all of your decisions, what do you do? So, a decision can either be accepted, waitlisted, or declined. If you are waitlisted, so say you applied early action and you were waitlisted, that means that your application is going to roll over into the regular decision portion, and they are going to reevaluate your application then, because they either didn't have enough spots available during early action to accept you, or they want to, you know, give more thought into whether or not they should accept you, or, you know, give you more time to get your I don't know, but like that means they didn't accept you early action, but they are going to reevaluate your stuff during regular decision. Please note though, if you apply early action and you get declined, you cannot apply regular decision. That's why it is so important to only apply early action if you believe, and if you are, you know, secure, and if you have the ideal test scores and GPA that you want. Because if you get declined, you cannot reapply regular decision. You're gonna have to wait until the next cycle to be able to apply. So if you apply for fall 2021, you would have to wait and reapply for spring 2022 if you got declined during early action. So once you receive, okay, there's that. Please note, so another important reminder, please know that an acceptance does not include a scholarship. I did not know that. So I thought, you know, when my first acceptance was to Tuskegee University. I got my acceptance letter and I was like, where's my money? Where's my scholarship? Please know that when you get your acceptance to a school, you are not going to have any money attached to it. The money comes later. The money comes later, okay? So scholarship offers typically come after your acceptance but before your financial aid. Now that is not the same for every school, because like for Howard, I didn't get my Howard scholarship until I got my financial aid. But like for every other school that I applied to, I knew how much I was getting in merit before I got my financial aid. Next, after you've received your decision, you want to start narrowing down schools. On this, I'm not going to say much because I am making a how to choose the right college that will go in depth on how to start narrowing down your schools and how to start eliminating schools. But one thing I will say, I was someone who really wanted to know where they were going that minute, but I'm telling you, as time progresses, you're gonna start picking up on things. You're gonna, once you start visiting campuses and once you start, talking to different schools and just figuring stuff out, I'm telling you, schools will start dropping out of your list. I promise you they will. So, just patience is a virtue. You're gonna have to wait it out, but I'm telling you, at some point you will have a top 3. You will have a top 3, you will have a top 2, and then you will reach that final destination. So finally, after you've received all of your decisions, focus on scholarships. I cannot emphasize this enough. You need to focus on scholarships. I'm telling y'all. You want to give yourself as many opportunities to win a scholarship as possible, which means that you want to apply as early as you can so you can spend the rest of your senior year just focusing on applying to scholarships, because I'm telling you, there are hundreds of thousands of millions of scholarships out there that go unclaimed, that people don't know about, or that are just there and available to you. You do not want to miss them. Now, speaking of money, the next section is money, scholarships. So I'm not going to say a lot about scholarships because I am going to have a scholarship video that is going to go in detail on all of this. But I do just want to say that, I already said you have local and national scholarships. Please focus on the local scholarships. Every scholarship that I have received has been a local scholarship. I've received so many local scholarships and I haven't received a single national scholarship. But we're not going to talk about that because I still have a lot of them that I haven't heard back from. So we're going to speak them into existence. Next, alumni chapters. So I talk about this in my scholarship video, but I just want to say it so that you know, whatever schools you've applied to, please search and see if they have local alumni chapters. So for FAMU, and I know for Howard and Tuskegee, they have local Atlanta chapters for that school. And I actually received FAMU's Atlanta Alumni Chapter Scholarship for $5,000. So please research that, because a lot of students don't know that they're available, which means that there aren't a lot of students applying for them, which means that's easy money for you. Next, Greek organizations. So a lot of Greek organizations and like the Divine Nine organizations have scholarship opportunities for their local chapters. So I actually have applied to 3 of them. They haven't released decisions yet, but I'm telling you, they are out there. So just search a Greek organization that is that has a local chapter and see if you qualify and try to apply to that scholarship, because they are out there. Next are departmental scholarships, which I think I'm going to talk about this in the next section, so we're going to skip to that. So next, and I think this is final, once you've made a decision, here is what you need to do. This is just an overview. So find scholarships that are tailored towards your school. So for me, that was like the Atlanta Alumni Chapter Scholarship for FAMU, but I had already applied to that before I even committed to FAMU, which you're going to want to do. This is another reason why you should apply early action, because a lot of these scholarships that are tailored towards a specific school, you need to be committed, or you need to have been accepted. Specifically, you need to have been accepted. And if you don't apply to a regular decision, then you're going to miss the deadline to apply for the scholarship. So the big reason why you should apply early action is so you can apply to a lot of these scholarships. So once you've made a decision, you need to find scholarships that are tailored towards your school. So that could be with, the alumni chapters, or what I did. Majority of my scholarship that I'm getting from FAMU is from FAMU School of Business. You need to research and you need to email, call, do whatever you have to do, people from the department that you are going to school at. So whether that is, a school of business, or if that is, school of sciences, arts school, social sciences, whatever it is, ask someone from that department, whether it's a department chair, a dean, a recruiter, whatever it is. ask someone if they have scholarships available, because I promise you they more than likely will. And there are a lot of students that don't take, you know, advantage of these opportunities and that don't know that that money is there. So please email them, because that is literally where most of my scholarship from FAMU comes from. So not only will you have a scholarship from the school itself, but you will, so like I'll have a scholarship from FAMU, but I also have a scholarship from FAMU School of Business on top of that. So please, 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 please do that. Next, housing. You do not want to be homeless. So please figure out around what month your school will be releasing their housing. I say month because if you're trying to go to an HBCU, you will not know what day, what week, what time it is opening until about a day before. They will tell you that it's coming out and then it won't come out and then you'll be waiting. But you just want to know around what month it's going to be released, because I promise you, you want to be on that housing application at that time, because housing goes out so quick, and you really do not want to be in a situation where you do not have housing. Email people from your school. So for me, at FAMU, the School of Business and Industry has a recruiter that, you know, works with freshmen, incoming freshmen. And so you just want to find someone, whether it's a recruiter at your school, whether it is an advisor or someone to talk to from the inside that can give you, you know, the scoop, that can give you information, that can talk to you about scholarships. Just find someone that you can build a relationship with that can help you find scholarships, emphasis on find scholarships, help you find opportunities, internships, and just, you know, keep you informed about what to expect, what you should be doing, and if you're on track, that kind of thing. Next, seek a mentor if you can. So a lot of this will come, you know, once it gets closer to you moving in, but you want to find like a mentor that is, you know, an upperclassman or someone that's older than you, like a sophomore, junior, or senior, somebody that goes to the school that can be a mentor to you, just so that you have someone, you know, that's experienced what you're about to go through, that can answer any of your questions, and that can kind of help, you know, guide you along the way. I feel like I had another one. Scholarships tailored towards your school, housing. Oh, as far as the decision and making a decision, I told myself I wanted to have my decision made before March 1st. So before March 1st, you really want to have your decision. Why? Well, I wouldn't say March 1st. Definitely before May 1st, you want to have your decision. I would say like between March and April, you really want to be finalizing where you're going, because by that time you should have your financial aid. I would not commit to a school until you get your financial aid, unless you know you have a full ride and everything. But you want to be able to get your financial aid, and that is also around the time that housing portals open, and you want to be able to already be committed. Well, you have to be committed and you have to submit your deposit before you can apply for housing. But you just want to make sure that you have your decision made by then. And then also, a lot of schools, the merit scholarships have a deadline. So like for Clark Atlanta, I had to commit to Clark Atlanta before like March 1st if I wanted to keep my scholarship. Tuskegee wasn't until like May 1st. But like a lot of these schools have deadlines for their scholarships, so you want to make sure you make that decision in a timely manner so that you can still be able to, you know, get your housing and stuff like that. So yeah, back to what I was saying. Seek a mentor. Also join group chats. So the whole group chat thing, how they originate. If you do not have Twitter, get a Twitter, because that is going to be how you find group chats. When you get on Twitter, just search blank 20 blank. So for me, FAMU 25. Or if you're going to an HBCU, search HBCU 25. And I promise you, you'll see a whole bunch of stuff of people that got accepted. And then within it, you might be able to find a link to a group meet, or someone saying, like this if you want to be in a group chat. Stuff like that. It's going to be on Twitter. So you want to make sure that you get on Twitter, especially if you are HBCU 26 and beyond, okay? So when you join group chats, it's most likely going to be a group me. There will be some that say like this if you want to be an iMessage group chat, but most of them are going to be group me. You join the group me, be active for, you know, the first day or so, because I'm telling you, I hate group me because it crashes. It crashes every 5 seconds, and it's just a lot. It's slow, it lags. But use group me to find an iMessage chat. So once you get in a group meet, then you'll be able to find and branch off into iMessage chats that are based off of like your major, your city, stuff like that. Next, stay connected with your school via social media. So follow your school's Instagram page. I follow FAMU on Instagram. I don't think I follow them on Twitter, but like follow them on at least Instagram so that you can stay connected with the school, things like that. Also, have your email on your phone. So when you get accepted to a school, even before you get accepted, you're gonna receive an email, and then that email is where you're gonna get your financial aid, all that information. You just wanna make sure you have it. So for me, I have the email app because we use Outlook, even though the Outlook app really sucks. You just wanna make sure you have your email where you can get notifications when you get one, because there have been times when I've gotten an email about a scholarship or about like my housing that I needed to reply to as soon as possible. And if I didn't have the mail app, I would not have received the email because I'm not checking my email every day unless I get the notification on my phone. So I would highly advise you to get the app for your email. Now, that is all for this video. I know it is so long. I'm sorry, but it was necessary. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I think I said everything I needed to say. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe for more. And remember, this is a part of my dear class of 2026 and beyond. So there are more videos where that came from. My next video will be how I got in, and I'll be going over my stats, my information, where I applied to, my resume, everything I've done to get into all of my colleges. So please stick in and stay tuned for that one. I will link it up here once I have it posted, if I can do that, because I don't know if I can do that. So yes, please stay tuned, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much, and goodbye.